Hello, my name is Syazwan Ismail. I am the principal author of this article entitled Gender, Airborne Chemical Monitoring and Physical Work Environment are related to indoor air symptoms among non-industrial workers, or we call it as office workers in Klang Valley, Malaysia. The purpose of this study is basically to analyze the relationships of airborne chemical and the physical work environment as the risk element to influence the reported indoor air symptoms among non-industrial workers, or we call it as office workers. The design of the study, basically a cross-sectional study, consists of 200 office workers that we randomly assign based on 25 postcodes from a pilot study that being conducted in Klang Valley, Malaysia. We are using a modified published questionnaire by Department of Occupational Safety and Health Malaysia, or we call it as DOSH, and some of the elements published by the previous study, namely as a MM040 and a questionnaire. Basically, the study employ a very extensive indoor air quality assessment that been conducted in more than 200 buildings, where we conduct the typical indoor air quality investigations, or we call it as IAQ audit, in every room, which according to the Department of Occupational Safety and Health standard. The results of our studies are mostly from the general symptoms such as fatigue, feeling heavy headache, nausea or dizziness, and difficulty in concentrating. And most of the prevalence in current study populations as compared to the reference populations from 9 healthy buildings in Sweden. In addition, the current study recorded a greater prevalence of symptoms when compared to a large study in Finland. The best explanations for this issue might be to the reporting culture, climate factor, and understanding of IEQ issue, building design, building awareness, and personality traits. For your information, Malaysia is one of the tropical, high humidity, and high temperate climate, so that the humidity, which is high, is very extensive factor that may influence the dispersions of chemicals such as formaldehyde and aldehyde to be dispersed in the indoor environment, thus affect the reporting symptoms among the non-industrial office workers in Malaysia. There are a few parameters that we found that influence the indoor air symptoms, especially among men and women in our study. The first one is the dispersions of chemical related to the organic compounds such as aldehyde, formaldehyde, TVOC, and some of the ozone that may be associated with the levels of the pollutants. Besides, our study also found that the issue pertaining about the carbon monoxide is one of the issue related to the general symptoms reported by the office workers. In addition, dust, typically airborne aerodynamic shape less than 10 micron, is one of the major influence of the reported symptoms, especially among women as compared to men. As a result, the physical work environment such as air temperature and relative humidity, and the combinations with the chemical dispersions of TVOC, formaldehyde, and outdoor intrusions of carbon monoxide associated strongly with the indoor air symptoms and perceptions of the indoor environment among office workers. As a take-home message, in order to maintain and create suitable working indoor environment to prevent the occurrence of severe indoor repeated symptoms that will reduce productivity, increase absenteeisms, and increase medical bills, some of the elements should be embedded, and facilities manager, building owners, engineers, and technical personnel should emphasize the following strategies to ensure that the indoor air quality can be maintained into the acceptable level. First, new buildings should be using low-emitting VOC paint. Improvement of the fresh air intake, or we call it as outdoor air, should be always regulated according to the needs of the occupants. Filter management inside the air handling unit that control the uptake of the dust must be regularly maintained, and the retrofitting should be done correctly. From this study, a model of exposure from the symptoms and also a model of the exposure of the pollutants can be established with the temperature, relative humidity, air movement should be modeled as a primary indicator of the poor or good indoor air quality in one office building. Besides, the carbon monoxide, the aldehyde, the organic compound and the dust level should be maintained into the acceptable level to avoid any reporting symptoms that can lead to a severe reporting complaint such as asthmatic, bronchitis, pneumonitis and outs. With that, thank you very much.